It's hard to believe what's not waiting for me. Someone I lost. Someone special.
The X-Men are scattered through time. In the past, from the start of Apocalypse's reign, to the future at the height of his rule.
The X-Men. I must strike them at their most vulnerable. The 1990s.
Jeez, could have at least bought me a drink first.
X-Men back to the 90s.
You fight a battle that cannot be won against the dawn of an age that cannot be stopped.
This isn't just about us. It's about everyone we've lost.
From the beginning of time to the reaches of tomorrow, we stand together, right here, right now. I believe in the X-Men.
We're back, baby.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie, and we are back. Marvel finally released a shiny HD version of the X-Men 97 Season 2 trailer. I did a video a little while ago, but it was completely different footage. Like, this is a completely different trailer, so thank you, Marvel, for releasing completely different stuff. There's a lot to unpack here, so we will break it all down, and I will be doing episode videos for the season when it starts in July. As they note, it starts in July. My only minor note to Marvel after watching the trailer is that they should start airing episodes on Saturday morning to turn it into a Saturday morning cartoon if they're really going for the 90s nostalgia. Bring back a little piece of Saturday morning cartoons. Just starting at the beginning of the trailer, it starts with what seems like Rogue and the X-Men who were stuck in the past, still stuck in the past, but Bishop is with them, and it's in the aftermath of a big battle. It seems like after they topple Kang and they're about to come back to the future, or Bishop is about to bring them back to the future. And she talks a lot about Gambit being dead and still thinks that he's dead when she's coming back to the future. She doesn't know anything about Apocalypse resurrecting him as one of his 4 horsemen. That was what that whole Apocalypse post-credit scene was when he talked about death at Genosha in the aftermath, the ashes of Genosha, and picked up Gambit's playing card. Gambit became one of his 4 horsemen of the Apocalypse in the comics, so they're just doing the comics. Then we see her in Genosha picking up one of his playing cards in the ashes with someone else. My assumption is this is happening relatively early in the season, so they'll make that big reveal that Gambit has become one of the 4 horsemen maybe by like the middle of the season. We'll see. Then we get a brand new Marvel Animation intro logo, and they put a bunch of new scenes from more recent series in it. So in the background, there are some scenes from Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. We're also getting Season 2 of that later this fall, a couple months after X-Men 97 Season 2.
How's my son doing?
We get a little bit from the Marvel Zombies series. They're reportedly working on Season 2 of that, but they didn't say when it's going to premiere, so we're supposedly getting more Marvel Zombies. Notice the frame also turns to purple color, which is also brand new. As the shade changes to blue, you get a scene from X-Men 97 Season 1 where they were fighting the Sentinels in Gambit, of all people. Like, we just had a scene where Rogue was talking about Gambit being dead, riding Wolverine like an ostrich. That was a great, great scene. Really expecting them to do more cool uses of people doubling up on their powers, combining powers, like we see with Jean Grey and Cyclops combining their powers later in the trailer too. We have Avengers Doomsday coming up later this year, all the classic X-Men coming back, a lot of really powerful characters like Doctor Doom entering the MCU. Everybody always argues about who the most powerful Marvel characters are because we'll be seeing them all fight very soon. So speaking of which, thank you to Marvel Contest of Champions for sponsoring today's video, where you can actually play those theories out. Marvel Contest of Champions is a high-fidelity, arcade-style fighting game on both mobile and PC that's free to play with intense action, powerful combos, epic quests, and customization. Collect and battle with over 350 champions, including your favorite Marvel superheroes and villains like Spider-Man, Iron Man, Hulk, Daredevil, Doctor Doom, Wolverine, and loads more, like Ghost Rider, who they just added. Everybody always wonders if his penance stare is powerful enough to affect the gods of the Marvel Universe. Thor is a god. You can actually try this in-game. They just launched a brand new feature called Collectives, which allows you to increase the power of your roster of champions by selecting groups of your characters with a shared attribute like class or kit mechanics, allowing them to gain a collective power-up, which benefits all of them. They're in the middle of events like Roll Coliseum if you're new to the battle realm, and America Chavez is their newest chase champion. Collect action figures to trade them in for a 7-star America Chavez from now until July 8th. Download the game using my QR code. I'll put it up here on screen or my link down in the description below, and you can get a free limited time Show No Mercy bundle that includes 10 champions for free like Punisher, Venom, Ghost Rider, and others. The bundle is only available until June 8th, so be sure to grab it as fast as possible and enjoy the game. We get a scene of Magneto in the past looking out over the pyramids here, basically this city in ancient Egypt that currently Kang the Conqueror in his Ramatut form is ruling over. Bishop is talking to Forge about what's happened to them scattered through time in the past and the future, but they know that it's Apocalypse's rise and his height of his power, so they know Apocalypse is like a real big part of this equation. Not totally clear what's happening here, but the X-Men seemingly go into the pyramid here, probably to talk to Kang the Conqueror Ramatut. You also notice when he mentions Apocalypse's name in the past and he pulls his mask up, you see a bunch of horsemen behind him, which is meant to be a reference to the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse that we're going to see in the present-day 1990s timeline. Just a little bit more winking at Gambit, and also making you wonder who the other 3 horsemen are going to be. There are a couple other dead X-Men in this trailer too that might wind up making up the rest of those 4 horsemen. The biggest ones the trailer wants to imply will become the 4 horsemen are Gambit, Iceman, because Polaris is looking at his picture like he's dead in present day, and Magic, but I'm not sure who this 4th person is. There's somebody that they focus on at the monument on Genosha where everybody else's dead pictures are, but people think that it's Marrow. It might wind up being a bigger character. You can let me know who you think the 4th horseman is going to be in the comments. Generally, it seems like this is him taking down Ramatut, Kang the Conqueror. We get a real quick flash of Professor X having another vision of the Sphinx ship. This is Kang's old Sphinx ship that Apocalypse then just takes over. We get a really cool scene right after this too. Right after the vision flashes to the distant future with his temple in that distant future timeline with Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Nathan Cable, you also see the distant past and the future of ancient Egypt, and we finally see Apocalypse's ship, the advanced ship that we saw from X-Men the Animated Series that you see him flying around in that speaks to Beast. He just calls it ship before it destroys itself to help them, and it is confirmed as Kang the Conqueror's ship from the distant future, which is why it's so advanced, and Apocalypse just takes it over, which is where all of his advanced technology comes from, that you see him walking around it in present day, and then again in the distant future.
Goodbye, my friend.
We get a little bit of voiceover from Apocalypse in that far distant timeline where he talks about striking them back in the 1990s, messing with the timeline. I think this confirms that Apocalypse in the distant future is responsible for the X-Men being scattered across time, not Kang the Conqueror, as a lot of people, myself included, believe might be possible. We will see how they explain this. But it kind of seems like a self-fulfilling prophecy kind of thing where Apocalypse in the distant future thinks that he can kill the X-Men in the past, but inadvertently provides the seeds for his own destruction, but also at the same time, the X-Men in the past wind up inadvertently helping lead to Apocalypse's rise. So it's sort of like the snake eating its own tail, where like the X-Men accidentally cause Apocalypse to rise, but then also Apocalypse in the distant future also inadvertently gives them the tools they need to take him down. I literally just did that Rick and Morty Season 9 Episode 1 video. The time cops got involved because they got into some weird time travel stuff, and one of the mantras of Rick and Morty is, "You don't mess with time." While he's doing this, we actually see Apocalypse jump down in front of these controls here. They seem like celestial Kang the Conqueror controls inside his ship, but this is during the 1990s because of his costume. You can tell the difference based on the way his eyes look, the way his costume, his suit looks. Wally's making more 90s jokes and references. I mean, Apocalypse doesn't really joke around, but he does make a lot of quips. They're making a lot of 90s jokes during this trailer in general because the series is set during 1998. X-Men 97 Season 2 is 1998. There are a lot of people that ask about that too. Why don't they just call the series X-Men 98 now? And we get a new scene of Polaris looking at pictures of when she was on that X-Men team with the original roster too, like old school roster with the upgraded costumes. During Season 1, there were also pictures of the very first roster, like before Polaris joined from the comics too. Those are big deep cut references to the original comics. Not totally clear what's happening here with Morph and Wolverine. This might be when they're going to get those records with the big Laserdisc joke that they had in the last trailer that I did a video for. We get that cool scene of Jean Grey and Cyclops combining their powers, her making the psionic Wolverine claws and taking out this area of effect group here around them. Not totally clear who they're fighting when this is happening though, but it is a cool combination of powers, and they're wearing the Frank Quietly costumes too, which is from like the next era forward in the early 2000s. There are probably going to be a number of costume changes that everybody gets during this season. We get a cool team-up scene with Jubilee and Sunspot. Not clear who they're fighting in this scene, but they're also using their powers together like Scott and Jean Grey were. We get another scene of Bishop in the distant past helping Nightcrawler and the other people when they're still stuck in the past before they've come back to the present. While this is going on, they play a heavy, dramatic version, like a much slower version of the X-Men 97 theme song, which is basically the X-Men the Animated Series theme song, just juiced up a little bit, like they re-recorded a version and just made it a little poppier. Kevin Feige said a couple years ago when they brought this series back, he said one of his conditions was that they had to get the original voice actors to come back, and they had to get the rights for the original X-Men the Animated Series theme music, which Marvel did not technically have at the time, if you can believe it. We get a real cool scene of Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Cable in the distant future, and he's using his powers to activate some of Apocalypse's technology in the distant future. We will see how they adapt this from the comics. He was raised here in the future in the comics, but also Strife is created here too. I don't know if they're going to do Strife during Season 2, just because there's so much extra lore from this era in the comics where they did this version of Cable, this younger version of Cable. If you didn't read that particular comic book run, Strife was basically a clone of Cable who was evil and raised by Apocalypse. Speaking of which, we get a different scene of adult Cable in a different future with more future Sentinels, like these are evolved Sentinels from further forward in the timeline. We get new voiceover of someone talking to the X-Men about fighting a battle they can't win, seemingly talking about the rise of Apocalypse. This might be Rama Tut, Kang, who's talking to them, saying this to them, like, no, you can't change the future. Apocalypse is going to rise no matter what. While he's giving them this speech, we actually see the events of Genosha and the attack with the giant Sentinel and Gambit's death again, more flashbacks. Notice he says the dawn of an age that cannot be stopped. It's reference to the age of Apocalypse. We get a real quick scene of Exodus, super powerful Omega-level mutant fighting Nightcrawler, but also a scene of Danger from the comics, who is the sentient entity that is the Danger Room that gets really pissed off at the X-Men and starts fighting them. We get a couple more scenes of Rogue and the X-Men in the distant past talking to Rama Tut, it sounds like, while they flash forward to the future, so Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Nathan Cable, and them just being a nice family together. We get a real quick flash of the older version of Cable looking at their picture in the past, like it's in the future and he's looking at them in the past. We get a new scene of them later in the timeline after they've come back to present day, and they're looking at the monument to all the dead from Genosha. You notice Magic's picture is up here right up on top, but there are a whole bunch of other people, like Gambit's picture is right below her. All these different people could potentially become Apocalypse's new Four Horsemen, so we will see which ones that wind up being beyond Gambit. Not totally clear what's happening here, but for some reason, Jubilee is crying her eyes out. Maybe somebody is sacrificing themselves to save her. Maybe it's Sunspot. We'll see. Like, who is she crying over in this scene? We get more of Professor X having his vision floating through space, looking at all the different pyramids. They show the vision of the X-Men around the rise of Apocalypse in his ancient ship. You see the energy around it. So, like, this is inside Kang's ship that then becomes Apocalypse's ship after he takes it over. We see another part of this inner chamber here showing Apocalypse during the middle of the timeline in the present day with his celestial armor or his Kang the Conqueror armor, depending on how you think about it. In the comics, he got the armor from Celestials, but most of this technology is Kang's technology that he just takes.
Yoink! Yoink! Yoink!
We get a real cool scene of what looks like Storm attacking this dinosaur I'm assuming is happening inside the Savage Land, so maybe we go back to the Savage Land during Season 2. There have been a lot of rumors about Marvel trying to do Savage Land stuff in live action. We will see if that winds up happening during the new Marvel Phase 7 era, the mutant era of the MCU. Not totally clear who Morph is fighting here. It looks like maybe somebody from the Brood or somebody with snake powers, but notice that he morphs into Deadpool. This is our first shot of Deadpool on X-Men 97. They were going to do him in Season 1, but they wouldn't let them because they were still going to do Deadpool and Wolverine, and they didn't want to do more Deadpool and animation before they did Deadpool and Wolverine. But now they've done it, they can do all the Deadpool they want on the show because Deadpool was canon to the original X-Men, the animated series, through Morph's character. Morph has been like a cameo machine on the show. He has been so many different characters. It's been really, really cool. So we'll see who he morphs into during Season 2. Giving us maximum cameos. We get a brand new scene of Psylocke, who's now come back to the show, as well as Archangel in the background, who is on Forge's board. It's not totally clear what's happening here with Rogue going into Apocalypse's inner chamber in his ship. This is like the advanced version of his ship inside. My assumption is this is happening later in the season after they figured out how to take him down, dismantle his organization across the timeline. We get a new montage of X-Men that we've seen across the trailer previously. You also notice Magneto has grown this wicked beard here. We also see Emma Frost. She becomes a bigger character in Season 2. She was also on Forge's board too at the end of last season. And as the montage continues across the future, the past, all the different timelines, we get the voiceover from Nightcrawler talking about how he believes in the X-Men, like, we will be victorious because we are the X-Men, we can take care of this, we can come together and do this. Basically giving what seems like Rogue this giant pep talk. Then they end the trailer with a wicked team-up of a bunch of different, including Adult Cable in the present-day timeline, with them in their Frank Quietly costumes, or some of them in the Frank Quietly costumes. Not totally clear who they're fighting when they all come together, though. And they end the trailer with the post-credit scene of Wolverine, who's gotten his adamantium back, saying, "We're back," not "I'm back," which was in the last trailer video that I did. So it's just part of like a much longer scene where he's like, "Hey, I'm back," but then also says, "We're back" during this scene, too. We also got some previews of him as Savage Wolverine at the beginning of the season, so for a little while he'll have the bone claws before he gets his adamantium back, probably towards the middle or the end of the season. Everybody post all your reactions in the comments below, and if you spotted any Easter eggs or references in the trailer that I didn't talk about in this video or my last trailer video, just write them below in the comments. What'll probably happen as we get closer to the season coming out this summer is we'll get more footage and clips. Whatever they wind up releasing, of course I will do all the videos for, so be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that. Thank you again to Marvel Contest of Champions for sponsoring the video. Download it and get all that free stuff I mentioned earlier in the video using my QR code here on screen or the link down in the description below. I just did that different trailer video with a whole bunch of different footage. Click here for that, and click here for my brand new Spider-Man Noir video for the end of the series. They just dropped all the Spider-Man Noir episodes too. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.